This is the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast, and I'm your host, Trudy Simmons from the Daisy Chain Group, providing platforms for women entrepreneurs to be seen and heard. This platform is for women entrepreneurs that want to hear the real stories of what it takes to be yourself and run a business with all the different hats that you might have to wear. These are the stories of the tenacious, the rebellious, and the resilient women that are working towards the future that they want to build for themselves and their families. Hello and welcome. We have the amazing Kate Browning from Cherry Blossom Management with us today to talk about the Shine On You Crazy Daisy book and her brilliant chapter. Kate, introduce yourself. Tell us what you do.
Hi Trudy, thanks. So I'm Kate Browning and I am the founder of Cherry Blossom Management, which is a virtual assistant business. My aim is to give back female business owners and entrepreneurs more time, freedom and choice and help them feel empowered and more in control of their business.
I love all of those words, all of them. What I was absolutely intrigued with when reading your chapter was that you started out wanting to be, I have to read this, a volcanologist, which I was not sure that it wasn't about Star Trek. So you wanted to be a volcanologist and now you're a virtual assistant. How do you go from there to there? Very intrigued.
Yes, so clearly that is a bit of a curve. And at college, I studied geology because I've had a massive fascination with volcanoes since I was small, and I still do now. So if I watch a movie with volcanoes in, I'm one of those geeks that goes, no, that's not scientifically accurate, that's wrong, that wouldn't happen. I'm one of those annoying people. But I also studied art, and I studied IT, and I studied accounting, and I did business. I had an interest in so many different subjects, I couldn't narrow it down to one thing that I wanted to do, but it was drilled into me, pick one thing and stick to that. So I still have a massive interest in volcanoes, and I'm actually traveling to Iceland next year to go in a volcano. Yay! Amazing. But when I went to uni, I ended up doing business management because that was the sensible option and the one that could, help me get a job and get a career. So I went down that route, and my career has been so varied. My background is so varied. I wanted to do so many things. So I wanted to be a PA, an office manager, and help organize people because I am obsessively organized. So I did that for lots and lots of years. And then I wanted to be a wedding and event planner. So I did that for 5 years and I organized over 150 weddings. And then I wanted to do a job that gave back and sort of did good. So I was a regional manager for a national charity for 3 years. And I loved that. But I loved the jobs I was doing, but I kept working for people that didn't have very good people management skills. And I kept having a string of rubbish bosses constantly. And when it came to wanting to move on and do something different, I decided that I'm done with having rubbish bosses and I'm going to have the best boss ever and be my own boss.
And that's me.
And that's me.
Don't you love it that the conversations you have to have with yourself with your boss of whether you will have a day off or whether you will go and do this thing, and it's just you talking to yourself and the answers are always correct.
Yes, absolutely. And I've always wanted the flexibility. I've always wanted to be my own boss. I've always wanted to set up my own business. That's why I did a degree in business management, to give me the skills to be able to do that. But there's never a right time to give up a lovely comfortable salary and holiday pay and sick pay and the security that it brings. There's never a right time.
So you just jumped. So
I just jumped. I had no savings. I had no plan. I didn't even know I was going to be a virtual assistant. I just decided I wanted to set up a business. What can I do that I'm good at, but also that I enjoy and that I can make money out of? So I cherry picked the aspects of all of the previous stuff I'd done and turned it into a job and turned it into a business.
Clever, cherry picked.
And that even wasn't an intentional pun either.
So what did make you decide to go out on your own?
It was the fact of I was done having rubbish managers. I was done putting in so much effort. And because I always go, I'm the type of person that I actually genuinely care about what I do and the people that I support. I always have been. So I got fed up with putting way more effort in and it not being appreciated and it not being valued and it just being exhausting. So I wanted to get more of a work-life balance, that elusive work-life balance that we all work towards. And I wanted to be my own boss, and I wanted to have the freedom and flexibility to choose who I worked with and what projects I did. And now I do.
Right. So in the chapter, you brilliantly talk about this freedom and flexibility of running your own business. But how do you find both of those things in your business? And can you tell us the good and the bad things of that? Because there is good and bad on both sides of freedom and flexibility.
So it gives me the freedom and flexibility to be able to design how I work and how often I work. So as an example, I've recently stopped working Fridays because I don't want to work Fridays. So I don't. And I still work, I still work hard, but I have a team of associates that give me that flexibility to be able to, well, if a client needs some work on a Friday, then Deborah can look after you or Mary can look after you. It doesn't have to be me. So I've now got that flexibility. And also it's where I have fibromyalgia as well. Sometimes I have days where I'm poorly and I can't work, but it doesn't impact on my clients because of the way I work and because of the hours that I do. If I'm poorly and not feeling great, I can take an afternoon off. Or if I want to take holiday, I don't have to submit it to a manager who is going to spend a month approving it or find a million reasons as to why I can't take that time off. Or I can take time off whenever I want and how I want.
With what you've learned in the past from your managers, good and the bad, how now that you're managing people, how are you implementing the things that work or don't work? How are you finding yourself as a leader in that?
So that's one of the aspects that I've done in previous roles. I've managed teams and I've managed people before, and it's one thing that I love doing because I'm the type of person that's not afraid to roll up my sleeves and get my hands dirty. I will never ask someone to do something that I wouldn't be willing to do myself, and I think that's really important. And also what I found in previous roles when being managed by other people is that the communication channels aren't very open, they're not very transparent, or someone's not particularly approachable, or if I've got an issue and I raise it above, it's ignored or it's brushed under the carpet or whatever. Whereas with my team, even though they're self-employed themselves, I always make sure that there are open communication channels that they can come to me if there is anything they are struggling with. Ask questions, ask for support, because we can't support our clients if we aren't fully informed. And I'm also a really big believer in self-care. With previous jobs, I've worked 70-80 hours a week, and I worked myself into the ground to the point that I've just crashed. And it's not an achievable pace to go at. Whereas now, especially with my fibromyalgia, I incorporate self-care into my daily routine, and I make sure that my team do that as well. So they take care of themselves, they take breaks, they take time away from the computer, because it's so easy when you're self-employed to go back into that routine of working 7 days a week and not taking a break. And I did that when I started. So I worked 7 days a week for the first 4 months of my business. I never took a break. So I worked 9-10 hour days strapped to the laptop, never left the laptop. I was blooming exhausted. And the further I've gone into my business, because it's now 2 years, it was 2 years last week, yay, I've realized that the more I actually look after myself, so taking a break away from the computer, actually taking a lunch break and shutting the laptop down, or going for a walk first in the morning to start my day, I get way more done. Even though I'm working slightly less hours, I get way more done. I'm more productive, I have better ideas, and I can serve my clients better because I'm more focused. But also I'm happier. If I'm happier, I'm going to be more motivated.
This is such good stuff. And any entrepreneur listening to this, or anybody that wants to start up their own business, the key things that you're saying is around communication, transparency, being authentic, self-care, putting yourself as a part of your business, that if you're not 100%, then your business can't be 100%. And all of these little learnings that we have to go through, if people could do this right from the beginning and put those boundaries in place, it changes how you then are able to grow your business and the speed at which you're able to grow it.
And boundaries are so important. You've just said boundaries, and I had all these lovely boundaries in my head, but I didn't enforce any of them for the first 6 months. And then I would get, because clients would cross over into friends and it would be a friendship, we'd have a chat on Facebook at 10 o'clock on a Friday night, and then they would drop in a work question, or on a Saturday. I don't work Saturdays. I don't work 10 o'clock at night. So now I'm very strict on my boundaries. One, to protect me and my team. So, you know, it's very clear, I don't work Fridays, or if you message me at 6 o'clock, I will respond the next working day. But it's also for my clients, because I'm trying to encourage them to have boundaries and to manage their time better. And it was only yesterday I had an email from a client saying, I've only been working with her a week, and she said, I didn't realize how many evenings I was spending creating content and doing my admin, and I didn't realize that I was doing it all weekend. She said, I had my first weekend off in 2 years because you're helping me. So I want to help my clients have boundaries as well.
Yeah, and boundaries. But when you talk in the chapter about this flexibility and freedom, you're giving your clients that as much as that's what you want to create.
Yeah, absolutely. The idea is that I give you back time and that freedom and that choice, and it's your choice. It's up to you how you spend that. So you can spend that time on growing your business and bringing more income in and changing your lifestyle, or you can spend it on self-care, or you can spend it with your kids. The luxury is you have the freedom to choose how you spend that time.
And it does feel like a luxury, because we as women entrepreneurs, I think more than anything, have this guilt thing of, if we're not working, then we're on the back foot, that we're not progressing, when actually stopping, walking away, taking time out, playing with the kids, doing anything else but working is the time that you will then be more productive after that, because you've walked away, or you outsource and you give it to somebody else and you go, oh, I don't have to go and create those 30 Facebook posts, it's done. And
I think it's a learned behavior, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's something that you're taught, that if you're working really long hours and you're working really hard and you're busy, then you're succeeding. And I think that's absolute rubbish. I mean, you might be, and that's fantastic if that's the lifestyle you are happy with. But for me, my biggest commodity, and also for my clients, the biggest commodity is time, and how you choose to spend that time. So you can be busy just doing stuff, but if it's not adding value to your business, if it's not bringing in an income, if it's not adding to your well-being, then you're just busy doing stuff.
Yeah, well, if you look at the word business, it's busyness. And when you start realizing that, and then you can walk away from it and go, that is my business, but I'm going to use it as productive time, get so much more done. I love this. Amazing. Hang on, there was one more thing that I wanted to talk about with the freedom and flexibility, is the flip side of that, when people start their own businesses, and the fact that getting the consistent income and building in this freedom and flexibility, the kind of the tough side. What you mentioned that in the chapter as well. Yeah,
so it is, when starting out your own business is tough. There's no manual, there's no one that can teach you how to do it, because for everyone it's going to be unique to you, what you value as a work-life balance, what you value as what your income is. It's, when I first started out, I worked with coaches and I worked with mentors, and I think they are worth their weight in gold. They are absolutely worth their weight in gold. The stuff they can teach you and the time they can save you in teaching you the stuff, so you don't have to make the mistakes yourself. But when you first start, I've literally just had another VA come to me and say, I've just started, I'm overwhelmed, because I thought I was tech savvy until I became a VA. And then I've realized all the software I have to learn, all the training I have to do. There's so many services I can provide, and it's learning what you want to do. For me, the key value and the hardest learning curve was learning to be able to say no. That's really, really hard, and turning down potential clients. It's a really hard decision to make. But for me, I always keep in the back of my head now, what makes me happy? Would I enjoy working with this client? Would we fit? Would we vibe? Some of the hard learning curves were saying yes to people I should have said no to, listening to my gut reaction. I learned all of those lessons the hard way. And it can be so challenging and so stressful and so overwhelming. But if you manage to build a supportive community around you, that is by far one of the best things you can do as a business owner, is having a community of people that have been there, done that, and they can support you.
So what's the one lesson that you would say to another entrepreneur that's starting out that you've learned?
I think the one that I wish I'd learned much, much sooner, I didn't learn it until about a year and a half in, is don't be afraid to be you. And be completely you. So people talk about authenticity and about the way you communicate and your style. And because I came from a corporate background, and especially in the charity sector, having to behave and act and appear a certain way, when I set out my business, I was very corporate. Even my branding was corporate, and I attracted corporate clients, so accountants and property developers, and that's great. But the type of people I want to work with are fun, vibrant, creative people that want to have a work-life balance, people that aren't afraid to have fun in business, that are bold, that stand out, aren't afraid to be them. Because I'm very different from a lot of VAs. I'm tattooed, I have piercings, I'm loud and I'm bold and I'm colourful, and I like having fun in my business. And I now communicate the way that I actually speak, rather than communicating and talking the way I thought I should speak.
Yeah.
And my branding now reflects that. And because of that, I now attract my tribe. I attract the people I want to work with. My clients are awesome. But I wish I'd learnt that way sooner.
Well, you know that I talk about that as well. And it is life-changing and business-changing when you're able to find your voice of who you are in that. That's brilliant. What piece of software would you recommend for people in their business?
My favourite software is Canva. I use it every single day. I not only use it to create social media graphics for my business, and I use it to create proposals to send out to clients and quotes, but I also do a lot of design work for clients in that. I think if you can have a piece of software like Canva, which one allows you to market your business how you want it, gives you so much freedom and flexibility, but you can also create brand consistency and really showcase your voice in there. And there's so many things you can use it for. There's just so many tools, and for $10.99 a month, that's amazing. I love it.
Fantastic, Kate. It has been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and your passion shines through. And Cherry Blossom Management, I love the name, and I love what you're doing, the way that you're helping people to create this flexibility and freedom by offering them the services that we all need in our businesses, so that we're not trying to wear every hat. So well done you. Thank you. And thank you for being a part of Shine On You Crazy Daisy, and getting your story out there is really important. So amazing. Thank you so much, love.
Thank you very much. I'm so excited for the book coming out. It's so exciting.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching the Shine On You Crazy Daisy podcast. If you've liked what you've seen today, then please make sure that you click the subscribe button to this channel to see more inspiration and motivation as more of these stories keep coming out. And if you want even more, click on the link below this video and go and have a look at the series of books Shine On You Crazy Daisy, and get even more inspiration and motivation for you and your business.